All right, folks, here we are, page 3, section 10.6, 6 examples, all of which have one thing in common. All of these expressions have radicals in the denominator, and so to simplify them, we've got to do something about that. Each of those denominators is also a binomial, and so what we need to remember is the sort of pattern that you get, or the result of multiplying a binomial by its conjugate. Okay, so what I'm going to do when I see a situation like this is I'm going to say, well, the conjugate of 2 plus the square root of 6 is 2 minus the square root of 6. Okay, so that's what I'm going to multiply numerator and denominator by. Okay, the result of that, okay, in the top I'm just going to distribute negative 2 times positive 2. It's negative 4. Negative 2 times negative square root of 6 is positive 2 times the square root of 6. And then in the denominator, and you got this times this, I could FOIL it, I could do the box method, or I could remember what is the result of multiplying a binomial by its conjugate. Well, you take the first term and square it, so 2 times 2 is 4. You take the second term and you square it, so square root of 6 times square root of 6 is just 6, and you subtract those. So if you're not sure of where that comes from, put it in the box method, simplify everything out, and you'll see this is what you get. But yes, there we are. So now all I have to do is simplify stuff. I've got negative 4 plus 2 times the square root of 6 over negative 2. This is factored, more or less. I can take a negative, I can divide negative 4 by negative 2, and I can also divide this 2 by negative 2, and it's going to give me 2 times, or 2 minus the square root of 6. Okay? This divided by this divided by this. Good. All right. Next one, same thing. I'm going to multiply by the conjugate, which is 3 minus the square root of 5. That gives me up top 24 minus 8 times the square root of 5 over 3 squared, which is 9, minus the square root of 5 squared, which is 5. Okay. Up top, I still just have this, but 9 minus 5 is 4. And then one final step to completely simplify it. 4 goes into 24, 4 goes into negative 8. So I've got 6 minus 2 times the square root of 5. Okay, there's that. All right, moving right along. Here we have, okay, the conjugate here is square root of x plus 7, square root of x plus 7. Yeah? Let's do some foiling. Okay, again, you know how to do the foiling. You know how to do the box method. I'm going to do this in my head because I've been doing this for 41 years and I have that ability. But here's the result. 4 times square root of x, that's 4 square root of x. 4 times 7, that's 28. Square root of x times 7, that's 7 square root of x. Oh, and square root of x times square root of x is x. Okay? So we've got 4 terms in the top. In the bottom, square root of x times square root of x is just x. Negative 7 times positive 7 is negative 49. Remember, that's what happens when you multiply the conjugates. Now all that's left to do is to clean up any like terms that I've got in the top. Well, 4 times the square root of x plus 7 times the square root of x is 11 times the square root of x. I have 28. I have x. I mean, that's it. Okay, the bottom, x minus 49. Not factorable, not factorable, nothing cancels. That's the final result. Okay, let's do another one of those. Okay, here, same situation, conjugate. 8 plus the square root of y. 8 plus square root of y. Okay. Do the same thing in my head. I'm going to FOIL it mentally. You get 8 times the square root of y plus y for the outside terms minus 32 for 8 times negative 4, and then minus 4 times the square root of y for those outer ones. And here, this squared is 64. Square root of y squared is y. 64 minus y is my denominator. What are the like terms here? Well, 8y, I should say 8 square root of y, and negative 4 square root of y. So my final result will be 4 square root of y plus y minus 32 divided by 64 minus y. That is a wrap. I'll circle that answer too. Okay? Sweet. 2 more to go. Give me some time to eat a carrot. Well, it's warm. Let's see. We've got 3 times the square root of 2 plus 2 times the square root of 5 over square root of 2 minus 4 root 5. Okay? Process is the same, folks. This one's just a little more involved because these radical expressions are a little more involved, but I still do this. The conjugate is that. Now I just need to FOIL. I'm going to be very careful here. Here we go. First, 3 root 2 times root 2 plus outside 12 root 10. 3 times 4 is 12. Root 2 times root 5 is root 10. Plus 2 root 10. 2 times 1 is 2. Root 5 times root 2 is root 10. And then last, 2 times 4 is 8. Root 5 times root 5 is just 5. Over. The bottom, again, conjugates. Root 2 to the second power is 2 minus root 4 times, or 4 times the square root of 5 is 16 times 5. This squared times this squared. Okay, so still a little bit of a hot mess, so I got a little bit more work to do cleaning this up. Here I can say this is 3 times, okay, this is just 12. No, this is 6. Root 2 times root 2 is 2. 2 times 3 is 6. Okay. These inner terms, they're both root 10s, right? They're like radicals. So I can add this to this. That gives me 14 root 10. And then 8 times 5 over here, that's plus 40. Over 16 times 5, that's 80. 2 minus 80 is negative 78. I'm just about done here. Wait a minute. Wait. 40 plus 6, 46. 14 root 10, still is just that, over negative 78. And that looks pretty good, right? Is there anything that I can factor out of this, though? It looks like I can factor a 2 out of this, this, and this. Yeah, so let's factor a 2 out of this. That's going to give me 2 times 23 plus 7 root 10 over 2 times negative 39. Yeah, 39. These 2's cancel, and so your final result is this. 23 plus 7 root 10 divided by negative 39. Whew. They don't get much more extra than that. Let's do one more. Okay. We have 5 times the square root of 2 minus 2 times the square root of 5 over the square root of 2 minus the square root of 5. I'm going to multiply top and bottom by the conjugate, which is square root of 2 plus the square root of 5, square root of 2 plus the square root of 5. That's the first step. Second step, do the FOILing. So, again, here's what's happening in my 41-year-old brain. 5 times the square root of 2 times the square root of 2. This times this is 2. 2 times 5 is 10. Outside terms, 5 root 2 times 5 is 25 root 2. Inside terms, negative 2 times the root 5 times root 2 is negative 2 times the square root of 10. And then the last terms, hold on. Folks, can I start this one over? So sorry. Oh. Sorry about that, but I don't want to start the whole video over, so I'm gonna start over. So we've got, this is the last example. 5 root 2 minus 2 root 5 over root 2 minus root 5. Okay, here's where we were. I forgot to make that the square root of 5. That was my mistake. Root 2 plus root 5, root 2 plus root 5. We're in good shape. Do the multiplication. This times this is 5 times 2 minus outside terms. This times this is 5 times the square root of 10. Inside terms, negative 2 times the square root of 10. And the last terms is negative 2. This times this is 5. Okay. Over square root of 2 squared is 2 minus square root of 5 squared is 5. Great. All right, combine like terms. Well, 5 times 2 is 10. Negative 2 times 5 is negative 10, so those cancel out. Here we've got negative 5 times the square root of 10 minus 2 times the square root of 10. That's supposed to be a plus, because this times this is positive. Okay, we're good. All right, so continuing to combine like terms, 5 times the square root of 10 minus 2 times the square root of 10 is 3 times the square root of 10 over 2 minus 5 is negative 3. Those 3 divided by negative 3 is negative 1, which means our final result is just the negative square root of 10. Folks, I almost blew it there. That would have been a disaster to have to redo that whole video. Hopefully that last one makes sense. If not, you know what to do. Hit me up in office hours. We can talk. For now, that's it. I'm signing off. Have a good rest of your day. Cheers.